Elder Hallstrom, how did your family end up in Hawaii? How'd that happen?
Well, my father was born in St. Anthony, Idaho. My mother in Salt Lake City. But my father's parents, with their 2 young children, moved to Salt Lake City when my father was young. He went to the University of Utah, graduated, and then was called as a missionary to Hawaii in 1940. And the World War started in the Pacific, and he was there that day as a missionary. He was actually on Maui, but he saw enemy bombers flying overhead on their way to Oahu that morning. It was a Sunday morning, and he was at church in a little branch on Maui. And because he'd already graduated from the university, he stayed 3 full years as a missionary, and then in 1943 came back to Salt Lake. Of course, it was the middle of World War II, so he joined the Army and went to officer candidate school, graduated as a 2nd lieutenant, and they shipped him back to Hawaii. I assume his background in the islands, he spoke fluent Hawaiian, which they did, especially on the neighbor islands in those days, may have influenced the decision of where to station him.
Sure.
He came back on leave in 1944 and married my mother in the Salt Lake Temple. They'd known each other at the University of Utah and intermittently in those after his mission and before he left again for Hawaii. And so they went back to Hawaii as a couple. They lived in a little tiny cottage in a section of Honolulu where they had to paint all of the windows black so that no light would show through in case enemy bombers again attempted to come back. And they finished the war in 1945. When the war concluded, they came back to Salt Lake and wondering what to do next. They lasted 9 months, not even a year, 9 months, and then went back to Hawaii, probably the winter.
One winter, probably.
And then went back and stayed. And both my parents have now passed away. My mother in 2001 and my father in 2009, but both in Hawaii, are buried in Hawaii, and raised their family there, and most of their grandchildren were born in Hawaii as well. So my father, from the time of his mission to the time of his passing, it was nearly 70 years that he had been in the islands. He saw a significant amount of change in every way, and
my goodness,
but we've always felt very blessed as a family for the roots that we've had there and the blessing it has been to grow up in the islands.
So the span of his experience in Hawaii really went from 1940 when he first went till 2009 when he passed away.
Correct.
Oh, it's his whole life,
yes.
really. It's his whole adult life.
Correct.